Have you been hearing lately about the importance of sitting with your emotions to process them? And whether you have or you haven't heard that, if you are somebody who you are with a heightened emotion right now that's not serving you, this video is probably for you. And that is to let you know it's so important to turn and face your emotions. The reason why you do that is because then you can process through those so much quicker. And I actually have a beautiful analogy to help paint this picture. But before I get there, the reason why I know this topic so well is because I am a certified hypnotherapist as well as a master life coach. And so I see clients all the time with very heightened emotions. And those heightened emotions are holding them back in their life in one way, shape, or form. And so if we haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Connie Jo Holmes, and I'm the founder of Confidence with Connie. So this little metaphor that can go with this. If you think about a wild animal who is living on the mountaintops in Montana, okay, and it's wintertime and a snowstorm is coming. Yeah, that snowstorm isn't comfortable at all. And if that animal, though, decides it wants to avoid that storm, it's going to turn its back to the storm and it's going to go in the opposite direction. But yet it's a snowstorm that's coming from this direction to this direction. So sure enough, it's going to get it at some point. Whereas if that animal would just face that storm and actually walk into that storm, it's actually going to get through that storm that much quicker. And so the very exact same thing is true with your emotions. If you have a moment of, it's a moment, but maybe it's a repeated moment where that anger just, rears its ugly head and you don't like it. You don't like who you are when you're angry. Well, instead of facing it head on, you might, brush past it. You might ignore it. You might get busy with something else or whatever the case may be. And when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're turning your back to that storm and you're running away from it. But just like that snowstorm that's coming through the mountaintops for that wild buffalo, it is going to catch up with you. So what's so important is to decide, you know what? It's going to be uncomfortable and it's not going to be something that I'm going to like in the moment. But when I turn and I face this emotion, the snowstorm coming in, and when I start to walk through it, towards it and through it, I am going to get through it so much quicker, so much faster, and then I'm done. And so that is exactly what we can do with our emotions. Now, I don't want to be remiss by just, offering this suggestion. I want to give a couple of how-tos on this, right? So a couple of how-tos is to actually just sit with it. Acknowledge, what are you feeling? Are you angry? Are you sad? Do you have some grief? What is happening? And then let's just use anger. When you decide that you're angry, maybe sit with that for a moment and say, am I actually angry? Or is this maybe rooted in fear or sadness or hurt or something like that? But we're not going to know that deeper meaning until we actually sit with that anger. And then when we sit with it, we just get curious and we just start to ask ourselves these questions. Why do I feel like this? When else do I feel this way? What's creating this? What can I do about this? And those are some of the things that you can ask yourself that can help you to process those emotions. But the whole point of it is not to beat yourself up. It's not to create shame in yourself now for feeling embarrassed or being shamed for feeling anger in the first place. It's really just about uncovering the truth and getting to the root of it. Because what happens is, when we can find a learning from something, even if you were wrong, even if you were angry, you exploded so unfairly at somebody and you were absolutely wrong, then it's about sitting there so you can learn from it. Because what happens is we can't rewind history, but yet we can take that moment in the history, in the past, and we can sit with it, process it, and then we learn something from it. And so with this learning, we can now take this and move forward in our life. And so when we do that, it's almost like an even exchange. It's like, oh, okay, this was a really crummy time and an incident, but I got this from it. And so I'm going to take this and move forward with this in my life, and then leave the heightened emotion related to that event in the past. So I hope this was helpful, but I just had this experience with this client. And like I said, I think I had heard that story previously about, the analogy about a snowstorm coming in, and the animals who turn their back towards it are actually almost suffering double the time. Whereas those who turn and walk in and through it, their time is actually cut in half. And it just kind of popped into my head during that session. And I thought, you know what? I think more people need to hear this message or be reminded of this message. So if you've ever heard that, or else if you have another visual that came to your mind when you heard all of this, please go ahead and drop it in the comments. But also, if you do need support in your life with anything with dealing with heavy emotions, processing your emotions, learning from them, that is what I'm an absolute expert in, and I would be honored to help you with that. And how we get started is you just look in the description box below. On my website, I have a link where you can just book in with a free 30-minute consultation call with me. And even though I am located in Wisconsin, I have helped people from 5 out of 7 continents. So Zoom can be our friend. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.